It's your girl Diamond Drip, bringing you the insights and strategy you need in 15 minutes or less. This week is what I've affectionately called the calm before the storm since making the decision to join the Leadership Experience Tour back in June. And now that calm that I envisioned isn't as calm as I had planned for it to be. For context, this is how the next 2 weeks will go for me. I have an all-day training on Tuesday the 19th. I fly out on Wednesday morning. I arrive in Michigan for the Leadership Experience Tour on the 20th, and I'm there till the 24th. That's a lot of stuff packed into each of those days that I won't get into right now. But once all of that's done, I'm flying home on Sunday, where I'll then have an all-day in-person event on Monday, which will require a lot of networking. But it's going to be great because it's going to be the Diverse Women of Color Conference for women who, are diverse leaders and they have businesses. So this is great in terms of networking for me. So that Diverse Women of Color event is on Monday. Then Wednesday, I'm leading an event called the Midweek Mindset Shift. Then Friday, I'll be leading an event with 2 guest speakers called What's Next for Me. And it's all about those who are in transition, whether you're transitioning from working for someone else to working for someone else with a different career path, or whether you're going from working for someone else to embarking on entrepreneurship. This is really meant to be a container where you're able to figure out and ask questions around that decision. And then from there, on Saturday, I now have proudly my IFA divination on that Saturday, the 30th of September. Now, for any normal person, that would be a lot. Then you add in the fact that I'm a mom and a business owner and in the middle of planning a move. It suffices to say that in moments when I think about the future, I feel a little overwhelmed, and I feel like that's understandable. And when I think back to mantras that help me, there are really 3 that I use to help me remember, mainly not to freak out. Those 3 are to feel the fear and do it anyway. Clarity comes from taking action, and comfort and growth can't coexist. When each of these hits my brain, it helps me to understand essentially the same thing, just in different ways. We all experience fear at some point in our life. Historically, fear has been a survival mechanism. And this is kind of where that term fight or flight kicks in. As we rose to be the dominant predator within our ecosystem, we had to rely on this flight or flight less and less. But the reaction, these cortisol levels rising, the heart quickening, all of that still stayed. Now, today, we have it towards everyday things. And the one thing that I've learned is to think of this fear as an energy, and maybe even taking the stretch to call this fear resistance. And so when I feel that fear, that resistance, but make the choice to do it anyway, especially when it comes to something like building, especially when it comes to something like getting visible with my business, generally, I'm grateful for it. And the main reason for that is because clarity comes from taking action. To drive this point home, I'm going to tell a quick story. And yes, even with the story, this episode will be 15 minutes or less. So first started getting visible, hosting online events. My first attempt was an event called 3 Key Strategies to Start Your Mornings with More Productivity and Purpose. I thought this was something that everyone needed, despite neglecting my mentor's insights to do potential client interviews first. I planned my first masterclass. I chose to host it as a YouTube live. I put together this PowerPoint. I promoted it on social media. I even had like 15 people register for it. And then the day of, I learned all of the tech things that needed to be set up before going live on YouTube, to include my ability to share this wonderful, well-planned PowerPoint presentation. I learned a lot from that experience. And I never would have learned all of those things if I had let the fear of what if stop me from moving forward. I learned the importance of potential client interviews because they do actually help you. And it's one of the reasons why in my program, I 100% talk about this in the beginning, because when you do the work in the beginning and you get the language that you need in the beginning, then it helps you so much as you plan and market and scale. The next thing that I wouldn't have learned were the strategies to get people to not only register, but actually get them to show up. Because it's one thing to promote it on social media and do all of these things, but it's another thing to actually remind people to make sure that it's on their calendar so that when time rolls around, they actually show up. I also learned to test every technical aspect before the day of the event, leaving nothing to chance or it might get left behind, like my beautiful PowerPoint presentation. And as a bonus, I learned the importance of having a wing woman. Now, a wing woman is someone who basically is like your little assistant behind the screen, the wall. You can make them known. It doesn't really matter. But all of the tech things, especially if you have a waiting room or you're doing breakout rooms, it can be incredibly important. And even it can be incredibly important and helpful to have someone there navigating that for you so that you can focus as the person leading the event on your zone of genius. So again, I never would have learned these things if I would have let the fear of what if keep me from moving forward. I had to gain clarity through taking action. And that brings me to my last mantra that helps me when I'm in this space of overwhelm. Comfort and growth can't coexist. And here's another quick story for this one. I've been in business for about 4 years now without a mentor or coach until just recently, of course. The universe knew that in order to get me to the level of excellence my business required of me, I needed some help. I enlisted the help of a mentor, my current mentor, and her program has 2 levels. One was for those just starting out in business, and the other was for those who wanted to leverage the power of the momentum that they had already created. Not only was the cost of this program, well, uncomfortable, so were the days and times of the weekly meetings for the more advanced level. To be specific, we meet on Tuesdays from 2 to 4 Eastern. And for context, Tuesday is the only day, thanks to the support of the village that helps me raise my daughter, Taylor, that I'm responsible for picking Taylor up from school at 2:45. So what that means is that every day when I'm in training, I have peace for the first 40 minutes of the call, then an hour of chaos dealing with teachers and traffic and a wound up 6-year-old, and then a little bit of calm on the call before having to hop into a networking meeting that I co-host at 4 p.m. Talk about uncomfortable. I had to learn to embrace the discomfort that came with this growth that I'm experiencing in my business. And I'm really, really glad that I did. I'm really glad that I didn't let the cost or the time of day or how uncomfortable things made me stop me, because I've grown and learned so much in my business, and it only helps make me better for the clients that I serve. One, because it gives me the confidence of having proven frameworks and structures within my business, but also because I know it works, not just for me, but for the other women leaders in the program that I'm in. I have the confidence of being able to give those lessons and the knowledge that I learned to my actual clients, which is nice. This idea of comfort and growth not coexisting doesn't just stop in business either. It applies in so many areas. I'm pretty sure I don't have to expand very much on the example that when you start a new diet or finally decided that it was time to get that summer bod, it's a little uncomfortable. There's a lot of resistance to that, but we power through it, especially if we want the result that's going to be on the other side of us going, of us seeking, of us taking action and getting that clarity. And so today, I'm just going to wrap this up with a recap of the points that I discussed here today. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Clarity comes from taking action, and comfort and growth can't coexist. Thank you for tuning in to Diamond Drips Discussions. Don't let the fear of what if stop you from growing a business you love.